Hi, I'm Aura, and I'm the host of Collective Mind, and I'm here with Onyx, my fiance, and the host of Primal Pack.
Hi, my name's Onyx. I'm the fiance of Collective Mind.
No, you're my fiance.
Well, yeah. Fine. Hi, this is the Primal Pack. I'm Onyx. I'm one of the fiancés of Collective Mind.
I guess
I
that
have
works.
I have a system role too in your system. I'm the fiancé. I'm the fancy C. Fancy C.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we are finally doing the part 2 of Nostalgia. Moving on. And this was supposed to happen significantly sooner than it is happening, and I'm sorry about that. Bunch of stuff came up, but it is happening now, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Without further ado.
Oh, remember all of the events in the last episode? Patton, you know full well what it means when Thomas is thinking about Guys and Dolls. I don't know what it means. Sue me. Oh, I get it. That's a song from Guys and Dolls. You just don't understand love. I understand that it's making you act pathetic. Somebody say cat aesthetic? Take it off. When you've been in a relationship as long as I was, it's hard to let go of those
Cat
feelings.
aesthetic.
Why don't we just call them? You know, we can call them right now. Stop. Text them. There definitely seems to be room for improvement. Room! Patton, you're at the core of a lot of my happy feelings. I'm at the core of a lot of your feelings. Maybe going there and enhancing those happy feelings is what I need. Here we go. Look at all the memories
You
you
didn't
got
listen
stored
to
in this place,
consent.
Patton. There seems to be a high concentration of items encompassing your education here, Thomas. The show memories, the performances. Are these all your old journal entries and stories that you wrote in middle school? The rainforest rap. Your room is awesome. Like, I don't know why you would want to leave it, ever. Virgil, are you okay? Come on, let's go. It's time to end this experiment. Logan, it's fine. It's fine. All of this because Patton can't let go of one person? Logan, can you stop? Please? If you don't want to listen to me, this is your issue to resolve. I am outie 50,000.
Oh yeah, he threw a tantrum.
Hey, do you guys remember the 5th season of Lost? Ah, what a good use of a flashback to bring unaware viewers up to speed for this video. That was subtle. Well, this is just great. Fantastic. Perfect. No one wants to talk about Lost with me? Patton, what happened there? Oh, that was nothing, Thomas. Sometimes I just get to acting a little bit silly. That's all. Look, pictures. Patton, that wasn't acting silly. That was something...
Oh my gosh. The deflecting and the denial.
What just happened with Patton?
He snapped at Logan, and Logan left.
Okay.
And Thomas is asking what happened, and then Patton's like, oh, it's nothing, look over here.
Listen, they didn't consent for people to come into the room.
But he's doing a lot of deflecting and denial now. And
Well, yeah.
I get why, but like he's doing so much, no, don't think about that. Everything's fine.
It's because he doesn't want people in his room, but they're there anyway, so he's got to deal with it now.
Yeah.
And in our system, that just wouldn't happen because people can't go into the room unless other people give them like consent to, and it can't be like forced consent. It's just it has to be fully willing.
Yeah. I really like that mechanic about your inner world.
Our rooms are supposed to be like the only true safe place we have, because everything else someone can technically get to, and our rooms are where we can go for sure that no one can bother us or hurt us or see us, and we can feel things or say or do whatever we want, and nobody can interfere or influence, or we don't have to be scared of them.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I'm mad at Thomas because he is totally ignoring the fact that Virgil is struggling a lot right now, but is pushing Patton to talk to him about how Patton's struggling, but totally ignoring Virgil. And like Virgil's trying to tell him, and Logan tried to tell him on Virgil's behalf. And he's totally ignoring that, and I'm so mad about that. And you know what I think it is? I think it's his like stereotype understanding of those two sides because he thinks of Virgil as the anxious one, so nothing is unusual about Virgil being anxious, whereas he thinks of Patton as the happy, bubbly one, and so Patton snapping at someone is super out of the ordinary, and something must be really wrong.
Validity for emotions.
Uh-huh.
Because Virgil has emotions so often, whatever. This person's displaying emotions for the first time. Oh no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that whole thing just frustrated me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Much worse than silly.
Feisty.
No, this looking back on simple memories is just tiptoeing around the things that I really want to remember, but I can't, or I shouldn't. You guys, this isn't good. I mean, the literal voice of reason just left.
No, love is not about reason, Thomas. Love is about taking a chance. You took a chance when you asked a guy out 3 years ago, and it led to you having some of the happiest moments of your life. Now, your heart is crying out to you. Patton, cry out to him.
What?
Go ahead, cry out. See? Now, are you going to ignore his cry, Thomas, or are you going to take a chance?
Take a chance how?
By picking up your phone, dialing his number, and charging back into love's battlefield.
Yeah.
Hello? That's him. Hang up! Why did you hang up? Virgil told me to! What?
So, that is so familiar to me in a system context. Of someone's just kind of watching, getting progressively more and more alarmed, and then it crosses a line and they just switch and end it or start screaming at everybody else to stop, and like they take control of the situation. They're like, no. This is not happening.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. Also, the thing that just happened with Thomas in the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Funny.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very funny. But also, Anna.
Oh, John.
Anna.
Why are you calling out Anna? She's very close.
Why do you think? We should just
Which
call him
thing
back.
are
We
you
should,
calling out
we should
Anna
admit
for?
the feelings that we have. It's fine. It'll be fine. We should admit the feelings. All right, calling. Hello? Ah! Anna freaking out when they went to tell Lex.
You are so rude.
Yes, I am. That's why I also gave it a pause so this entire bit can be cut out. I am very rude about
No,
that, but
not
also
that
it
one.
was true.
Hi,
Hi, who's out?
Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Mostly.
Go back a couple seconds. Like, just hit the back arrow twice or something.
No, I was watching.
Yeah.
I was
that
close anyway.
Yeah, that was like picture perfect example of you.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, la 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 la. Okay, I'm here. I'm gonna do it. I'm here. I'm queer. Let's do this.
Patton is a decent comparison to me in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
One major one being generally known by a lot of people as the one with the happy feelings, but being significantly more than that, and just having generally intense feelings.
You have more depth to it that people don't usually delve into because they don't want to question the good things.
I also spent a long time deliberately misleading people about that. I wanted people to think of me as the happy one.
Charlie, no. I don't need face licks. No, I don't need. Hi, you can just cuddle.
Thankfully, my girlfriend has a lot of patience for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can be very awkward.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awkwardness is cute.
Thanks.
When it comes to relationships, I mean, like, your partner being awkward about their feelings can be really adorable for the other partner.
That's true.
Because they can see how strong those feelings are, and how much it makes you uncomfortable, but you want to do it anyway, is kind of a like proving point for how much you love them, and it can be quite endearing and cute and adorable to see someone that you love doing the awkward fun things
Yeah.
because they really wanna.
I'm not going to get into the story too much right now because it's off topic just enough, but if people are interested in hearing about my new relationship with another alter in our system, just let me know, and I guess I could make that video. I was kind of thinking about it already anyway, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
More?
Yeah.
Did you listen to him? He was loud. Higgins, Figgins, I'm getting sick of this. No. What do I do now? No sloppy situation here. Oh, the backup idea. Text him. Text him what? Tell him you butt dialed him. What? A butt dial? Really? Look, I'm thinking off the fly here, Thomas, and you do have a bodacious backside. Stop. No. I mean, that thing has a mind of its own. I am not gonna lie to him. Then let your tush do the talking. What? Let your bottom do the bluffing. Keep your lips locked. Let your cheeks and hips talk. My hips do not lie, Princey.
I'm just saying, you have a very persuasive posterior. I'm so sorry, I can't stop. Now, Roman, lying is wrong. Yeah, that's a side of myself that I would prefer not to feed into.
Well, then what are you going to do?
Foreshadowing.
Tell him that you called in an act of desperation because for months you've been quietly hoping that everything would go back to the way that it was before? Are you going to tell him about all the times you fantasized about him calling you, saying that he's ready to try again? Are you going to tell him that you want him back? Because that's the truth. No.
I probably would have ended up out for this video anyway, even if you didn't make fun of me.
I wasn't making fun. I was poking fun. Because he was a friend.
Mm-hmm. Relationships used to be a big part of my job. And the way system things work meant that sometimes the relationship would suddenly be very different and I wouldn't know why. And it would have been because something that happened with a different alter, which I didn't know about at the time. And that would be really overwhelming and confusing for me because I wouldn't know what I did wrong. So, yeah. This, especially this part 2, hits pretty close to home for me. I have definitely done the whole thing of like, I don't care that you're not supposed to text your ex or whatever, I'm just gonna text them. And I usually wasn't the one to have most of that conversation once it started. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I am also very familiar with going down like the path of nostalgia generally and having it trigger someone else. Because I have a lot of good memories that are closely intertwined with other people's bad memories. So that can be really tricky.
Yeah, that's one of the really rough things about memories being split up between alters and stuff like that, is if someone only holds the happy part of what an abuser's activity was, like if it was playing Uno with you or whatever,
Exactly.
they might not remember the aftermath of you winning and them getting upset about it or something like that. And so the one alter will remember that event fondly while the other one will remember it as a horrifying thing, and it can be really tough to feel happy at times.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're causing someone else trouble, or that person doesn't feel like they're allowed to feel sad for that event because someone else finds it happy.
Yeah. And like a great example, even if like especially in the case of abusers, even if they're never kind, like for good reasons, even if they're just kind when they're masking for some other reason for someone else's benefit, if someone only has those memories and only knows that side of that person, and the second anything goes wrong, the second they start acting like themselves, someone else is dealing with that. Like, until I knew more about the system and knew more about other things that were going on, I had no idea what certain people in our life were like. I thought they were awesome. I had a ton of fun with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's confusing.
It is.
And I have a complicated relationship with a lot of those memories now, even without the way that they impact other people. It's almost, you know what it's a lot like? It's if, like in movies and stuff, when you see someone have a whole relationship with someone, but that other person was lying to them the whole time, for whatever reason. It's like that. It's like this is a happy memory, but it's almost like it's not real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is gonna take forever if I talk this long in between every few seconds of the video. Sorry.
No,
It's okay.
I didn't think so. No, I mean, no, that's not the truth. I don't want him back, at least not in that way. I don't want to do that to him because I love him. He was unhappy when he was with me, and I don't want him to be unhappy. The truth is, Roman, I don't want him back. But you do. I know you do. I know all of your dreams and fantasies. I'm the dreamy fantasy guy. He does and he doesn't. I wish I had Logan here to explain this. That can't be real, Roman. The thing that I want, that you want for me, it's impossible. You're right, I want it so badly, but it's fantasy. Forcing a relationship that doesn't work to happen again after it already fell apart, restarting that cycle of heartbreak, that would be mean. To him and to me.
This ties in really well with what I was just saying, because I end up wanting to almost think of those people as, like, I almost want to think about them like they're systems. Like, the person that I was interacting with is totally separate somehow from the person who did horrible things. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I have, like, a fantasy reality where that person is like that. But it's not real. And if I were to try to restart one of those relationships, I wouldn't be just restarting it with the person I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even be mostly starting it with the person I remember. Which is why it is much more effective in many cases to discuss these things in advance. Because if they had talked this out more instead of Roman just pushing and pushing until Thomas made that phone call, that would have gone a lot more smoothly, because they could have had this conversation earlier before making the phone call and just decided against it instead of having to figure out what to do now that they've done that.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be the reality, and I don't want that reality. Oh, what did I make you do? Patton, Virgil, I'm getting this all wrong, and I'm hurting you in the process. Oh, geez, he's calling me back.
Pick it up! Pick it up!
I don't know.
Destiny has dialed back!
Get rid of it. Get rid of the phone now.
Oh, I know you shouldn't have done that. I meant like set it down or something.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, I am sorry, guys. I was literally in the middle of apologizing, and I just immediately took a U-turn right back into part of the problem town.
I'm gonna go ahead and call that a trigger.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Also, that was Virgil's trigger. / they were the protector for it because they got like scary demon-y voice thingy and were like immediately taking control because everyone else was freaking out. And it was like, yeah, this is their job.
Yeah, and it was his voice that Thomas listened to, even though all three of them were talking to him, trying to tell him what to do. And that's definitely a big part of Virgil's job, is I need to, however necessary, be the one that you listen to when it's important. Yeah.
Which can really suck.
Yeah, it can.
No, it's not all your fault, Roman. I think we're all in a bit of a jumble here. What am I doing here? Honestly, there are future shows to perform in, future pictures to take, new things to write, and new things to learn. I know this. I know this. So why do I look back? Maybe because it's easier to stay here and try to be happy. Possibly because it reminds you of a time when you felt worthy of someone. You're afraid that you'll never feel some of these feelings again. That...
Stop calling me out.
Yeah. They do it really good in this episode.
Yeah.
It inherently becomes a really good show of what having to deal with friendships and relationships can be like in a system, especially early on before everybody knows about each other or before necessarily you're in a safe place to have those relationships. Yeah. And it can really suck for the alters that want to have friends and don't know why their friends are just always disappearing.
Yeah.
Or going away, or why suddenly things got bad. And it could be not the friend's fault. Like, it could have been just okay, we don't really fit well together thing. And a different alter just ended it. And...
Like or someone innocently triggers someone, and that alter genuinely thinks it's a safety issue and that it's best to end the relationship, but it was actually safe. That can happen too.
Yeah, and it could be a giant misunderstanding, but it could also be good reasons. And it can be really hard to do on both ends, because the person who pulled away from that friend is going to inherently not want to go back. And the person who didn't pull away is going to probably wonder why and be hurt. And both people are going to be hurt, so it can be hard to have, like, constructive talk about it. But that's why communication with headmates and system mates is so important.
Yeah.
Because being able to talk about those rougher issues, like, hey, why did we do this? Can we talk about this beforehand so I can be in on this? Because, like, if one of my friends was a severely abusive person, I would want to know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want someone to just end the relationship for me to save me, quote unquote, because that takes away a lot of my freedom and power of choice that I have.
Yeah.
It also takes away my ability to learn to stand up for myself and end things and become codependent and rely on other people to handle them for me. And in an effort to heal from trauma forcing me to be dependent on other protectors, like, we've started learning to talk about it some, unless the situation doesn't allow for it.
Yeah.
And try to keep me somewhat in the loop if possible. Not necessarily with all, like, the bad details, but like the person that would be involved with it gets to be involved in the solution as well, not just whoever's job it was.
Yeah, and communication makes such a big difference because, like, in the other example that I gave of, like, to get a little more specific, say that I consent to something and I have no communication with an external protector, like Jade for our system is our main external protector. If Jade switches and has no idea what's going on and she didn't consent to it, that's a safety issue for her, whereas I was happy. I wanted that to be happening. And so if we can't or don't communicate with each other, there can be major misunderstandings like that of this person is doing things I'm not okay with, they're dangerous to us, instead of like trying to work on softening those triggers some, and outside of that, if you're able to be open with that external relationship to say, hey, I'm not the person who agreed to this, let's stop for now. Like, that's what we do with you, is if somebody switches in the middle of anything and they don't want it to continue, it stops. Literally anything.
Yeah. That's like part of when we first met Virgil from your system. They didn't really want a roommate or us to do anything.
Yeah.
And
he's very independent.
Yeah, it's quite a big change compared to how we normally do things around you, because we're used to just being involved in things, and it was an interesting change, but it was still important to do because I didn't want to just ignore their consent.
He wanted to put headphones on and have you act like he wasn't there.
Yeah, and eventually when we figured that out, that's what we did. It took a little bit of trial and error of like asking about if there was something we should be doing or shouldn't be.
Yeah. And it's hard because if in that case, like, most of us would want you to check in on us and see what's wrong, and that kind of behavior coming from most of us who you know outside of Virgil would mean something was wrong, whereas for him it was like, you're like, why are you bugging me?
I don't know you, I don't want you.
Yeah. I don't know you, I don't need anything from you, you don't need anything from me, leave me alone.
It can be difficult at times to not see that as a form of aggression, because it's not. And you know, there's a lot that goes into it. Just the idea in general is just so complicated. There's every step about normal life becomes ridiculously more complex when dealing with it, almost in the same way that any step that involves a relationship and making decisions becomes more complex exponentially whenever you're polyamorous. And dealing with polyamory and stuff like that, because there's more people, there's more things to take into account. Instead of just like one person's feelings and desires, you have another whole person's life to consider and take into those equations.
Exactly.
And being in that situation is overwhelming at the start, but eventually you start learning how to identify patterns and behaviors in people a lot quicker, and figuring out effective communication to get to the root of the issue, and like paying attention to what things you're providing and they're providing for you. And it's a lot of self-learning and other stuff like that that you generally don't get unless you're doing things like that.
Yeah. We've been recording for over half an hour, and we are 6 minutes into this video.
I'm sorry, we keep going on little tangent rants. It's my fault.
I'm mad at myself sometimes, guys. No matter how I try, no matter how long it's been, or what I attempt to distract myself with, eventually the train of thought always leads back to the memories tied to... We met when we both auditioned for Guys and Dolls. We were both cast and quickly became friends.
Yes.
Such a simple show. It's amazing how a musical as simple as that, one that's not very deep, could mean so much to me. It was my favorite show, but not because I particularly liked the songs or the dialogue. Honestly, I'm not really a fan. Even still, it was my favorite musical, and I can't bear to listen to its music.
Because of the outdated and unsavory gender roles filled out by the cast of characters.
Because it hurts. And also because of that.
Yeah.
I still wasn't comfortable with myself, but I just felt something for someone else that I had never felt before. You know?
When a positive trigger becomes a negative trigger.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, that's worse. When you remember something being so positive and so helpful, and for whatever reason, that thing gets poisoned.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
Becomes melancholic and sad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a happy sad and not a directly bad sad.
Yeah, it's a very complicated set of feelings.
Mm-hmm.
No. Heck, I don't think I ever put myself out there more for anyone.
It was freaking torture, man.
But it was worth it. I'm sure it was. Oh, wow, okay. When I was young, my Uncle Buck...
Like the movie!
Yeah, sure.
Say, what is Buck short for?
I don't know. But...
Because he's got little legs.
Ah! Oh, like the reason he is short. You know, you don't have to do that, Patton.
What?
Try to hide what you're feeling with jokes. It's okay to be sad sometimes.
That's
Never
cheating.
sad.
That's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to call people out like this.
Mm-hmm. I know.
What the fuck? That's really rude.
Mm-hmm. You saw right through me,
Yeah, that's true, I did.
even when I hadn't told Aura yet,
Mm-hmm.
that I
It's
was
because
a little more complicated than I had implied.
there is no such thing as a simple person or a person that's happy all the time. It's just physically not possible because there's inherently there's no way to know what happiness or sadness is unless you've experienced the other one, which can suck, but that's what contrast is. It lets you know what the other thing is.
Yeah.
Like, if you've experienced pain all your life, it might seem normal until you stop experiencing pain and realize what it is you've been feeling and how it's affecting you. And it can really blow your mind and cause a lot of thoughts to come up because of
Yeah.
it.
I remember being a little bit frustrated when you immediately knew I was hiding something.
Sorry.
If you knew what it was, you didn't say, which I appreciate. But you instantly knew I was hiding like a big thing.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was. I just knew there was more and you weren't sharing it, so I didn't inherently trust you
Yeah.
when I first met you, which was like a gigantic red flag to Aura,
Mhm.
because everybody likes Anna.
Mhm.
Everybody does. There's nothing.
That was my
You don't have a
job.
hidden side. Yeah, and so since Aura didn't know as much, they were concerned about it, and they didn't understand why, and they thought I was like judging one of their friends for existing or something like that.
Mhm.
And it wasn't that I was judging you, just there was more, and I could tell.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know what it was, that's inherently a red flag to me of something I should be waiting for the other shoe to drop, because there's clearly another shoe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. In a way, my job is, or at least was, kind of manipulative. Because my job was to be liked, so my job was to become whatever I needed to be for someone to like me. For making friends or whatever. And mostly like to give people less reason to be mean. So in a lot of ways I was the first defense of, if someone likes me, why would they want to hurt me? But it was also a way of seeming more normal by having friends at school and things like that.
Yeah.
And acting normal in normal situations. So outside of trauma situations, it was my job to not act traumatized, basically.
Quote unquote normal.
Yeah, I did do air quotes. You just can't see me.
I just like the phrase being called normal.
Yeah.
Because nobody is normal. Everybody tries, or not everybody, a lot of people try to fit the persona that is normality, but being different is normal.
Yeah.
Because normal is just whatever the majority does, and since everybody's unique, being unique and different is the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a little bit different, that doesn't matter. Being yourself is normal, which is why it's probably coming around, especially in like 2022 and recent years and stuff, like trans, LGBT, that's part of the same thing. What am I doing? Mental health and LGBT.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry.
It's okay.
And so many other things like that are just becoming more prevalent and more learned about, and society's evolving to that degree because people are just starting to realize that it's not about the bigger picture. It's about being yourself.
Yeah. Well, we
Sorry.
should probably let Thomas
Yep,
finish calling us out.
I went back on rant, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm your happy Pappy Patton, just a fun-loving father figure figment. Falsehood. Well, you said yourself, I'm at the core of a lot of your happy feelings.
You're at the core of a lot of my feelings, happy or otherwise. When I was younger, my uncle used to take me fishing, and I hated it. It was boring. Throwing the living fish in the cooler upset me. There was no escape for them or for me. On the boat, I was stranded with miles of H2 open water in every direction. There's never a bad time for wordplay. After my ex and I had been dating for some time and my family saw how serious it was, my uncle invited us both out on the water with him, and I was not looking forward to it. I mean, my mind was racing. What might my uncle say? What if I said something wrong? Am I prepared to share a small space with my boyfriend and my uncle with no easy escape? Ugh. The day came, and it was not bad at all. Fishing was so much better with him there. Your uncle? Obviously not. Well, a little clarity never hurt anybody. My boyfriend. With him, I didn't mind floating in the middle of a mass of water. I wasn't isolated anymore. It can have a pretty big impact when someone can make you enjoy something you'd normally dread. That was when I really knew, you know?
Yeah.
From that point on, I guess I was... Don't hook. You ruined it. The whole relationship was filled with those moments. They're the moments that I choose to hold on to the most.
Yeah, that is a very powerful thing in a relationship, but I think it's at least as important as that to have things in common that you both enjoy. because it does get old eventually doing something that you hate for someone else.
Yeah. I don't mind doing some things I don't inherently like, because I love being with the partner. They're not all the things I want to do, but like, I love being with my partner, so I love those things sometimes.
Yeah.
And not because it's the thing, it's because it's my partner.
Yeah. And that still can work, especially if it's fairly balanced, if there's a lot of back and forth of this time we're doing something I like, next time we're doing something you like.
Mm-hmm.
But it does help a lot if there are shared interests.
Yeah.
But feeling safe and respecting each other are very, very important things.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoying each other's company is up there too.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be fair to myself and recall the other moments. The moments filled with sadness, anger, and confusion. The moments where we wondered whether the paths that we were on were truly conducive to having each other in our lives. When we ended things, it was for the best, but my heart, I never stopped loving him. I know. We know, Thomas, but eventually you're gonna have to move on from him.
Man, this episode's hitting harder.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those types of emotionally complex moments, at least in our experience, involve memories of multiple alters in our system. Which complicates it a lot, especially trying to have like a big picture understanding of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because taking a step back and looking at it the way Thomas is intentionally doing now, of, yeah, there were a lot of good moments and the moments were really good, but there were bad moments too, and those bad moments were significant enough to end a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If there's multiple people involved with different sets of memories about the situation, it's way harder to do that.
Yeah, very much so.
And there can be situations where there has to be a lot of trust, because there are a lot of situations where it's not fair of me to expect someone else to share trauma information with me just so that I know what's going on. But if they tell me something's going on, like, there often needs to be a level of trust there. And if I say, but I love hanging out with them and all of these good things, and they say they're not a safe person, I need you to trust me on this.
Yeah.
It sucks. And it would depend some on some other factors. Like, it helps a lot to have built some trust already with that alter, which is why communication is so important. Communication of some kind. It doesn't have to necessarily be internal communication, but building up that kind of a relationship where you have enough trust to be like, okay, you know things about this that I don't know, and I will continue to not know them, but I trust you that they outweigh the things that I'm saying.
I understand that. We have a different response to it.
Yeah.
System-wide. There are things that I trust my system to want to protect and care for me. If it's Sid or Luna handling a situation and they're saying that something is going on, I trust that something is going on, but I don't trust that they will handle it the best, because they're not me. And they don't respond to things the way I do. And I, like every other alter, is a different person. And like every other person, everybody has slightly different ways of thinking. You may come to the same conclusion, but it might be at a different speed. You might think of slightly different things, slightly different colored things, And providing that outlook can have a huge impact on how you or other people handle something, because they may not see that at all. They may realize that point and figure out that it's not worth it, and you don't. So them sharing their reasoning for things can be very helpful, even if it hurts a little bit to hear sometimes.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to depend on the situation, but it can be helpful to talk things out if you can, or to try and make the time to talk them out and put off the decision until you do, because you might find a different solution that you end up liking better. Or you might come out of it understanding why that needs to be done and be on board with it and help them do that. Either way, it gives you a sense of closure, because instead of being left with questions of, I don't actually know what's going on, you have learned what's going on some, or been a part of the solution, so it feels like you did something instead of just your life being run by other people.
Yeah, and it's somewhere in between for how we handle it. But the big thing is that I'm not entitled to other people's trauma narratives, even if it's affecting my life. So that's the big thing, is I don't get to say that it's unfair for someone else to not share details of their trauma with me because it's affecting me. I can ask, and they can choose if they want to share some of it.
Yeah.
And we have an agreement among executives specifically to share if something has happened with someone, who the someone is, and the category of the something, basically. But without going into more detail than that in most cases. So yeah, it's somewhere between, and it's complicated and it's difficult.
Yep.
I just don't know how to. Maybe you don't. Not completely. But you can't stay here. Moving on is not the same as moving forward. What I mean is, don't focus on moving on. Constantly reminding yourself of where you should be in life only makes you feel more down in the dumps. At first, this room does bring a jolt of happiness. I feel it myself whenever I come here. But the return to the present can be too much sometimes. It's why I've been so emotional lately. Pat and I had no idea. I suppose I've been contributing to that in some way. Thomas, you should know that though I dream big, where you are in life, it's precisely where you need to be. And the only direction to go is forward, one step at a time, not staying stuck in one place. If you're truly destined to be with him, now is not the time to worry about it. You're right, I have to focus on me. And I have to acknowledge that all my feelings are valid. You're right, kiddo. It's just, I feel guilty for still feeling this way after so long. You're not the only one. You're...
This just feels central. Jesus. Oh god, we're only 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, we're halfway through it. We're almost at an hour of filming.
Yeah, this is hitting so hard.
Reacting for however long is completely normal. Not bad, not strange, not stupid. You've been so accepting of all of us and our, eccentricities. You're done, Tootin'. We would do the same for you. And I'm sorry I had to rhyme it. Oh, shucks. Well, I just thought it would be easier to avoid all those nasty feelings altogether. Patton, avoiding grief can seem appealing, but I don't think it's fair to our mental health. Here's a little rap that I made up just now. It may seem scary to be that sad, but repressing depression can also be bad. Okay, well, I'll do the rhyming. In a way, grief...
I almost don't know how to respond. And in some instances, I don't know how to respond because
To put it
grief
in,
is never something we've handled well.
yeah, to put it in safety terms, because that's how a lot of system stuff boils down, at least for us. It feels safer to repress things while repressing them works.
Mm-hmm.
But it does not hold up long term. Like, we've never encountered a situation where it holds up long term.
Yeah.
And when it comes crashing down, it has been growing that whole time.
Mm-hmm. That's why pushing feelings down isn't a good idea.
But it is so much more comfortable in the moment, which is the thing that's really hard about it. It's also, like, often more productive in the moment. Like, if you can push the feelings away, you can still go to work, or still work on school, or, like, seem normal to people around you. All of those things. Like, it is life disrupting to process big feelings like that.
I understand that, and I agree to a point of pushing feelings down until you're in a place to feel them. Like, if you have to go to work, squishing them down until you're home, but then feel them once you're home. Don't keep pushing them down for the rest of the work week.
Yeah.
Or forever.
There
which
can
is
be
where
a bit
lot
of a
of
happy
people
medium.
do.
At the same time, part of the problem is societal, in the sense that we spend way too much time judging people's feelings and emotional responses.
Yeah.
And that adds a whole layer of embarrassment that doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving could be just the ticket we need to take that path forward to recovery. That was a mixed metaphor. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking straight. Ever. I'm not straight. Just be mindful. Being self-aware of what you're feeling and non-judgmental in the face of those feelings. Knowing that they're normal and that you're on the road to feeling better could be exactly what it takes. You're right, Virgil. And I should have been more mindful of you. Don't sweat it. I just wish I could have been more help. I've always been the one who worried about losing the people that you loved. And that happened. And I haven't known what to do since. Virgil, you've been as helpful as you could have been. Sadness shapes a different world. Gee, love is something, huh? Show enough. And you loved him. A bushel and a peck. Oh my! Virgil, come and throw with another Guys and Dolls song. Yes, that's my boy. I couldn't resist. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Are you ready? I think I am. Well then, let's go. Off into the great wide somewhere. Make a note to burn some of these journals. Never. Home again, home again. Whoa. That was new for me. I've never done that whole rising up thing. How do you guys do that every episode? I'm so lightheaded.
Every time
you're
we
back.
stand up.
Hey, buddy. Logan! Finally coming to your senses, I see. Hey, what the heck was that?
So judgmental.
Yeah. It's almost like it's not logical judgment.
Also, I cut Virgil off just now being very fairly upset that the only one who was acknowledging his distress abandoned him in the middle of his panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
That disappearing on us? Don't you dare try that stunt again. Did you honestly think that I was fully out of the conversation? I'm not a feeling. I'm the physical representation of something deeply embedded within you. Even if it seems like I'm gone, I'll always be there to a degree. Okay, well, warn a dude next time. Now, in regards to the figurative siren song that had you all spellbound, are you satisfied with your resolution? Well, it took some soul searching, but
Even that was just so patronizing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of issues with Logan. Especially
I
early
understand.
Logan.
Yeah. Logan can be very demeaning and patronizing and mean because they haven't learned how to be logical without being cold and calculated yet.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's in such massive denial about his feelings.
Yes.
And he refuses to acknowledge them, which means he's never processing them.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that if you're in your logical state of mind or whatever, or thinking logically, that you're not going to feel anything, and that's just not true.
Yeah.
When you're being logical, it's not that you're not feeling anything, it's that you're feeling everything and accepting it and trying to figure out why you're feeling those things, as opposed to just being overwhelmed with the emotions, because logic can feel sad or hurt or upset.
Yeah.
And that's fine because emotions have logic to them. Like, if somebody steps on your toe, it's gonna hurt and you're going to feel something as that. Action and reaction kind of thing. Like, logic is not inherently emotionless.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it is.
He also does so much dismissing other people's feelings. Like, that little conversation he just had with Virgil boils down to Virgil saying, "You abandoned me, I feel betrayed," and Logan saying, "I didn't abandon you, that's factually incorrect."
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so frustrating when people talk to you like that. And in so many ways, Logan needed that part of the episode that he wasn't there for more than anyone else.
Yep. Mike?
I think we got there. Sorry, Logan. I don't know why these things make us lose sight of you sometimes.
Yes, you were completely right.
I know.
Meaning you were right about initially being wrong. I know. All that matters now is how we proceed.
Yes, and I do think there are positives to nostalgia. All those good memories truly do encourage me to think about what lies ahead. But I also think it's important to focus more on being mindful of who and where I am, here and now. No one can really plan their future, but that shouldn't stop them from looking forward to it, no matter the fears. You have all your past experiences that will hopefully help you and not hinder you. You guys are right. And, a little compromise, Patton? As much as it pains me, sometimes, when the heart wants change, you must listen to it. Is this appealing to you at all? Logan, is that a cat hoodie? I thought this might be less cumbersome while still catering to your, eccentric standards.
You got me a gift! Oh my goodness, I love it!
It even has a front pouch to place an actual cat, if you so desire.
Oh, I can't, I'm allergic. Then why the cat onesie?
I like...
The way that Patton responds to receiving gifts reminds me of a lot of our littles.
Mm-hmm.
Just the
Don't tell
abundant
any of the-
enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm. Don't tell any of the big protectors I said this, but all big protectors are just children at heart.
Fair enough.
Every time I see them in front of littles or whatever, they get, or like really cute puppy dogs, even like the most adulty adults in front of their favorite thing or whatever, tend to just get squealy and little.
Alistair is arguing with you from inside.
Yeah, that's just because he doesn't know what his is.
Fair enough.
Actually, no, correction. He does know what it is, but he doesn't share it with anybody. Fight
That
me,
would not
Alistair.
remotely surprise me.
Fight me, Alistair. Nobody
can't.
is
You know
a
what also-
one-dimensional character.
Not being one-dimensional doesn't necessarily mean you have a childish side.
Fine. Teenager.
Oh, that I would definitely see.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be like a literal child.
So fit in there that you're not allergic to.
What?
Kaboom.
Puppies?
What? You can conjure puppies? Shh, don't tell anyone.
Well, this is just too precious to process.
I literally can't think of anything bitter or cynical to remark.
Okay, so from like a system perspective, different alters often have different like inner world abilities. So Roman being able to conjure puppies and the others not being able to makes sense.
Mm-hmm. One more.
Thank you so much, Logan. Of course, it's all purely for practical reasons. Small steps forward and all that.
Roll over. Oh, you can't do it because you're in my pocket. That's okay. Oh, no, that's all yawn. That's all yawn.
Oh my
Say,
gosh.
looking at all those old shows really made me miss the stage even more. Thomas, what other roles haven't we played? Sweeney Todd, Lumiere, Annie? He can't play. Okay, well, there he goes. I'm gonna brace myself to work overtime real soon. Later. Getting back on stage would definitely be fun, but trying an extra course or two could also be interesting. I don't know, might try both again just to switch things up. Could be fun. I'm glad to hear you say that, Thomas. But seriously, thanks for your help
I sense some emotions in you, Logan.
Mm-hmm.
today, Logan. All in a day's work. Good that we got through another emotional mire. As for the course to take, please consider astronomy.
Astronomy. Yup.
Right there with you.
Yes.
Well, Patton,
Yeah, Thomas.
how you feeling?
Well, that's always a tough question to answer, but this puppy sure is helping things.
Honestly, though, the times that we see you being silly and laughing, some of that's real, right?
Well, yeah, of course, Thomas. Almost all the time it is. There's so much good in your life to remember and appreciate as well as the bad. Those memories don't have to be forgotten, but they shouldn't weigh us down. They shouldn't weigh you down because they're just a part of who you are. All of you is important.
Will I ever feel that special feeling again?
I think you just gotta keep in mind that you're worthy of great things, independent of anyone who comes and goes in your life. And once you realize that, you're capable of feeling those feelings on your own terms. Hey, you like rainbows, right?
Puppy.
Roman gave Patton an emotional support puppy.
Uh-huh.
He's a very cute puppy.
It is, and it was one to play with the little strings.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
You know I do. I'm offended that you would ask.
Well, you always see them best after a bit of rain.
Wow. That was a, really nice metaphor.
I'm just saying because it looks like it's raining outside and you might get to see a killer rainbow.
Ah. Gotcha. Well, usually I like to end with a
There's
pretty
the,
concise
There's the hiding seriousness with humor to make people feel better and hold up the character mask that is yourself.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Say something deep and meaningful or whatever, and then just say something ridiculous afterwards because I can't let people think that I'm one thing. I can't let people know that I'm actually feeling a lot of shit.
Yeah. Jade had a very strong reaction inside to the whole rainbow thing because a lot of sayings like that bother a lot of us because they feel somewhat dismissive of trauma in a way. Like the way that they're used ends up boiling down a lot of times to be grateful for your trauma, which is a message that we firmly stand against.
Yeah.
So those things can be tricky, but choosing to look for good things or find meaning in something for yourself, we have no problems with. It's when someone pushes that on you that we have a problem.
Yeah.
conclusion on the best way to handle a dilemma. But I don't know if there is such a clear answer on how best to move on. Perhaps the main thing to focus on is just one step in front of the other, kiddo. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. Okay.
This part might actually hit me harder than anything else. I don't know why.
It's actually going through the nostalgia
Mm-hmm.
and moving on.
It's like watching someone have a flashback reel, you know?
Mm-hmm. God, that hurts to watch.
I know. Why is that the hardest part of the whole thing?
Because it makes it real.
Yeah. And
Instead
because
of
there's no
dancing around the
dialogue
topic.
there too, it makes it way easier to impose your own memories on it.
Mm-hmm. But because it's just, instead of dancing around the topic, it's actually facing it.
Yeah.
And facing it is the thing that they didn't want to ever happen.
Yeah.
And you get caught up in the talking about facing it and then never actually doing it. And most videos would end there.
Exactly.
And the fact that they don't makes you feel the things that you were technically trying to avoid feeling by watching the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Or would have given yourself the excuse that, yeah, I agree. It's good. You should feel your feelings and accept them. Okay, back to pushing things down and not feeling anything, and back to my denial.
Exactly. I watched a
'cause you're
video
disconnected
about
from
doing
it.
the work. I have to actually do the work.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it is.
It's like saying I read about how trauma processing happens in therapy. Now I don't have to process any trauma.
Mm-hmm. Exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
I took a psychology class. I'm good now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in psychology.
Mm-hmm. Almost there.
Before closing out the video, I just have to remark that it is roughly 1 year since the very first Sandersides video, and I just can't believe it. Thank you all so much for your continued support, your appreciation of the videos, and just allowing us to tell stories like the one you just saw. My friends and I work really hard on these videos, and we just are blown away by the response, and we're so thankful for all of you. So thank you so much. And if you enjoy the Sandersides and you want to rep any of them, there is tons of merch over at the merch store, and there's going to be new stuff later on this year that I'm super excited about. So if you want to check any of it out, you can go to this URL to stay up to date. If not, no big deal, because honestly, we are just grateful to have you all
The
as
merch is
viewers
really
and
fun.
supporting
I
us
would
the way that you
recommend it.
do. So thank you all so much. And until next time, take it easy, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Peace out.
So get up, get out, let everyone know we need to let the animals and the trees grow.
Yeah, rainforest rap.
Rainforest rap.
Save the rainforest.
See, maybe you'll think twice about interrupting us next time, Virgil. We cannot be stopped. Only paused.
Is it too late to be an outcast again?
Hey ya! Right? Hey ya is a single by Outkast. Second Outkast reference in a Sandersides video. I only know one song by Outkast.
Patton, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty great. Feeling so fresh, so clean. Another Outkast song. Tricked ya.
Are you really, though? How do we know that you're not just covering up?
Okay, that's actually one of the biggest things that I have realized since masking less, especially around system members, is there was a whole period of people just being like, are you actually happy right now? Is this a lie to you? And
That's where you have to let the person make their own progress
Yeah.
and realize that even if you can't trust it, they've essentially been given the choice and given the option and the knowledge that you're a safe person to talk to.
Yeah.
And if they're not ready to, it's okay. They're allowed to put whatever amount they have forward.
Yeah, that
And
is...
like us, we have an established, like, not second guessing
Yeah.
consent kind of thing, unless it's like we have passwords and stuff set up. But in general, like, oh, come on, brain, don't forget it when I'm in the middle of talking about it. ADHD brain go bar 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 bar. bar.
Can I make a point where you think, or is it like right there?
I got it.
Okay.
So, trigger warning for mention of SH stuff.
Okay.
Like, for us, we've struggled with SH in the past, and so you asking us if we'll be safe, and we've made a commitment and a promise to always answer that honestly.
Yeah.
And if we do, there's still going to be the inherent doubt and fear, but at that point, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And all you have left is to trust that we will, because we said we would, and it's impossible to force someone to trust or believe you.
Yeah.
Every time you believe anybody, it's technically an exercise in trust. And it's important to have those, because if you don't trust the other person, eventually it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of they don't feel like they can talk to you about things because you never trust them anyway, so there's not really a point, and they'll start hiding things or not saying things because they don't feel like they can safely.
Yeah.
So being the safe place is taking that risk, because that's the right thing to do, even if it sucks.
Yeah, that's something that I ended up telling several other alters in our system is, if I'm acting like I'm okay or telling you that I'm okay, even if I'm not, it's not your responsibility to like discover that, and treating that as a consent issue of me acting like I'm okay and telling you I'm okay is me retracting consent to talk about whatever might be going on.
Mm-hmm.
That made it easier for a lot of them, thinking about it that way of, I will talk to them when I want to, when I feel safe to, all of those things, but I can also do some of that processing on my own, and it needs to be on my own time.
Yeah, that's actually something. A slight addition to that is, if we think something is going on with, like, you emotionally or something, but you might not want to talk about it, or you've said that you're fine, but we still have like a nagging feeling or a gut feeling that there might be something going on, we can't say that there is for sure because we have no way of knowing. So instead, we usually say, it seems like something's going on. We might be reading into it. If not, it's okay either way. If you want to talk about it, we're here.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll continue on like normal, and it's okay. Because nobody has to talk to us.
Yeah.
But we want to leave ourselves open, and just a gentle reminder that, hey, we're here for you. It's totally okay if something's going on. We could obviously be misreading it and wrong, but it's okay either way.
Yeah.
And we're here, and it's safe to feel things and stuff like that.
Anyway, this has been almost an hour and a half of filming time, so we'll see what it is when we cut it down, but we'll just keep it as one video either way, I'm pretty sure. So, if you liked it and stayed all the way to the end, that's a little impressive. There's a like button that you can click. It is very helpful and fun for us to see people liking the videos. There's also a whole comment area where you can share your thoughts and ask us questions and things like that. And Discord is also a good place for that. The link for Discord is in the description box. And there will be links on the screen as well that are nice and helpful, including a place to subscribe if you want to make sure you don't miss our future videos. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.